1970, we sure we did the forefront. Knowledge for self-peace, for sure we did the work. Auditorium to basement of all faculty of law. We did represent, stand tall anywhere we go. Work hard and we shine, commitment, dedication. Neurosurgery, comedy, music, Nollywood. SOTK, Dr. Core, MC Casino. We did represent, stand tall anywhere we go. Great Uniben, great Uniben, great Uniben, great Uniben.
Hello, viewers. Welcome to another episode of the Uniben Alumni Series. As you know, this is a show where we celebrate alumni of the University of Benin, men and women that are shaping their different endeavors. Those are through the four walls of one of the greatest tertiary institutions in Sub-Saharan Africa. And today's episode is quite interesting because we have a lot to discuss with an academic success. In a testament to indomitable Uniben spirit, a remarkable tale of redemption and triumph has captured the world's attention in recent times. Joseph, this time around not the son of Jacob, but a proud offspring of Ibanga, yeah. A distinguished alumnus of the Faculty of Education, University of Benin, has emerged victorious, claiming a first-class degree in adult and non-formal education in 2023. This achievement is a masterful stroke of perseverance following an academic hurt that tested his resolve. As he so eloquently declares, I returned as a man. I'm privileged to engage in a conversation with this embodiment of resilience, whose journey is a symbol of courage and preparation with unwavering determination. Joseph, your presence here on the Uniben Alumni Series is indeed a beacon of inspiration. I'm honored to share your extraordinary story with our audience. Thank you so much, Joseph, for joining us.
You're welcome, sir.
Joseph is the Chief Operations Officer of, is it Phreb Consultancy in Benin? Did I get that correctly?
Yes, Phreb Consultancies.
Oh, okay. Thank you. But more interestingly, it is your academic achievement that has gotten social media attention in recent times. A boy went into the University of Benin, and because, as you said in your own words, life threw you off balance. You came back again as a man, determined as a man, and you made the first class from our great institution. Let's start from here, Joseph. I will just read a portion of what you published online. You said in 2012, I dropped out of the university, not because I lacked intelligence, not because I was lazy, but because life, in its unpredictable rhythm, threw me off balance. It was not failure, it was interruption. And though my dreams were not buried, they were shelved, quietly waiting for a better season. Life threw you off balance. Would you like to share the reason why you dropped out initially from the institution? You have made it known that it's not because you lack intelligence or because you were lazy, but because life happened. What happened?
All right. I would like to take us back to 2007,
Okay.
when I got admission. And surprisingly, I was admitted into the Faculty of Law, University of Benin. Yes, actually. Yeah, that's 2007, 2008 academic session. So I started in 100 level as a full-time student. I have not been academically backward, if I would say, because academically I would think I'm doing a little well, yes. And like I said, it's it was tumultuous. It was a kind of a struggling situation. Then I started in 100 level, 200, 300. Then I got to final year. As a matter of fact,
As a law
I wrote
student.
all yes, I wrote all my exams in final year, which was supposed to be 2012. That was the year I was supposed to graduate and then go to law school.
Okay.
Now the issue was that I didn't pay my school fees, but I was allowed to write the exams final year. As a matter of fact, in law, there is a way it is. When you do not have any carryovers in 400, it is assumed that you are fit for law school. You're definitely going to law school.
Okay.
And I never had any carryover, so I was bound for law school. So because of the timing, most of the time, the final year, that is the 500 level in law, is always very short. Sometimes it might take as short as a month to finish the whole session, and then also
prepare for
the
law
project.
school. Yeah.
Yes, because our names had already been set to law school, for example.
Yeah.
So it's more like, I wouldn't call it a formality, but if you do not have any carryover in 400 level, you are bound to go to law. You are bound to go to law school. So I didn't have any issues. So I was on the project, and that time, like I said, it doesn't take much time for the results, for the script to be marked and the results posted. So I had checked all my results. I never had any carryovers in my 400 level, in my 500 level. I cleared all of them. So I was on the project, although I didn't pay my school fees for that year. So what happened is that I went to see my project supervisor. I think he was Dr. Sadolo. He was the
now
dean of students then.
Professor
Yes,
Fetu
he's now the
Sadolo.
prof. Yes, Fetu Sadolo. He was my supervisor. So I did my synopsis. I did my project topic was approved. I submitted my synopsis. And then I was thinking, how am I going to pay my school fees? And that was not just it. The law school fees, which was about 250,000 naira then, which was a huge sum of money. So if I couldn't pay school fees of about 7,500, you could imagine the fear I would have, when I would think of the law school fees of 200 and something thousand naira, which was like, to me, it was like something I would never be able to have in this life. So I went back to meet a relative, my uncle actually in Abia State. I went there, talked with him. So he directed me to where he was working. He worked in Nigeria Breweries then. So he said that there was a construction company, Vita Construction Company, that happened that period. So I could just go there, work, and see how I could raise some funds. So I went there, worked as a casual staff. When I say casual staff, like one of the laborers, carrying headbands and the rest of the stuff, to see how I could fix that, to get that amount. And the money we were paid in a month, in short, it would take me at least 4 years to raise at least 250,000 because of how we were paid, the amount we were paid daily. So I did the job, but I wasn't worried. That is where ignorance came in. And I say, ignorance is the greatest enemy of man. I'm telling you the truth. I didn't know because I thought, since I never had any carryovers, and that time I've been hearing some rumors that somebody graduated 1991 and the person is just coming back to do clearance and the rest of the stuff. So I was thinking, as long as I never had any carryovers, anytime, even if in 10 years' time, I could just walk into the institution and then tell them, okay, fine, I didn't have any carryover. Okay, how much was the money I would pay for all those years and then graduate? I didn't know that.
So sorry to cut in.
Okay.
It appears that at this point you have decided that, you're not going to continue with the program for now. You will come back and continue. Was that your intention at this point?
No,
Okay.
no, and yes. No, in a way that, in a sense that I wanted to raise the money. Immediately I have the money for law school and to pay for those backlogs, then I would
It's school
come.
fees.
So I had the money. I was able to raise some funds 4 years after. So when
4
I
years
got back,
after you finish your 500 level.
I was supposed to finish. That's counting from 2012.
Yeah.
5 years, 4 years after I
Hmm.
went back. So when I got back, they were like, we were looking for, you never had any issues. What happened? I just explained to them. They said that the school gives 3 years of grace. After that, it is assumed you have voluntarily withdrawn
Ah.
from the university. I almost died. Oh, I'm telling you the truth. It was a very painful situation that I was in Benin trying to see how I could salvage the situation. I tried. This thing I'm telling you, it brought serious grief to my parents. I'm telling you, let me even tell you, had it been my parents died, my father in particular died between that period of 2012 and 2019, I would have been the 95% cause of his death because he was
No,
worried.
it's quite disheartening. Very, very.
It was so sad that to a point that I cannot mention the number of times that I contemplated suicide and people did not even know. I'm telling you the truth. People never knew what I was going because I was keeping my social media life very active, but people did not know. Why it was so painful was because I knew I was intelligent. I knew I was sound. I knew I have something inside of me, but there was basically nothing to show for it.
Wait,
There was
I want to
nothing.
get some clarification. Your
Okay.
500 level was in 2012,
Yes.
and you attempted to come back in 2016. So within
Yes.
that 4-year period, did not keep in touch with the university, with the maybe your course advisor, or even maybe your younger colleagues then, to know what is going on?
Okay.
Because it appears you were quite away for 4 good years without, yeah.
I actually had contact of one of the, I think a 300 level secretary then. I don't want to mention his name. He's
Yeah,
no longer in the faculty.
that's
Yeah.
fine.
I was constantly in talks with him. I was talking with him constantly.
Yeah.
But the mistake was that he wasn't honest with me because I was always sending funds. I was asking him, what do I need to do? He said, okay, they will need to do this. Then they will need so amount of money. I would send the money. So he was
What were
telling
you
me he was
sending money
arranging.
for? Sorry, for
Okay,
clearance or for the
yes,
fees?
for him to help me do some clearance and then sort out some files. He was telling me not to worry, that he's on top of the situation. I was constantly in contact with him in short, there was no week that I never talked with him. There was no week I never talked with him. And he kept telling me, don't worry. When you are ready, don't worry. Just come. I'm here. I would help you. I would sort you out. And I talked to some of my colleagues. In short, I didn't even talk to some of my colleagues then because since this man is a staff in the faculty, I think he would be in a better position. And he was a secretary in one of the departments. So I wasn't really bothered. So I thought he was, until when I called him in 2016, that he now told me, there was a way he answered. He now told me that they've transferred him from Faculty of Law. I was like, you didn't tell me. So where did you stop? He said that he did his best. That in short, that was when I said, no, I had to go. So when I got there, I met the faculty officer then. She was almost at the verge of retirement. So she was ready to help me. But she was telling me to get all the documents ready. My name was not on the portal because I needed to get the results on the portal so that I can pay the final year school fees online. So in the process of trying to get all those done, she retired. And now when she retired, I tried. That was when I now had to contact some of my colleagues that were lecturers. So they tried to help. but it was already beyond their powers. Let me put it that way. It was beyond their powers. They tried their best to see how they can salvage the situation, but the years had passed. From that day, from that period, it dawned on me that it is over. So you can imagine from 2013, from 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. In short, from 2016 was the heaviest, because that time it dawned on me that there is nothing that would be done. So I just sat down, I was contemplating, what do I do at that point? I said, can I just go to a polytechnic? Then my mind was telling me, look, you can't just do this. So 2019, I had to dust myself up. And so let me even tell you something. 2018, I wrote JAM again. I put in UI,
Okay.
right? I put in UI. I was offered admission to study English language. Now, what happened is that almost at the point of doing the clearance, paying acceptance fee, I just started hearing rumors. So I started hearing rumors. A lot of people said some things, that I was expelled from the university, because nobody actually knew what happened. Apart from my immediate family members, nobody knew what happened to this guy.
Yeah,
They knew he was in the University of Benin. He studied law. How come he's not practicing? How come he's not even a lawyer? How come he's just at home?
5 years of training.
5 years.
Yes, you have the training already.
So some people started peddling rumors that I was expelled from the school. In short, what even made me dump my admission from at UI was when I heard a rumor that I was expelled because of cultism. I'm telling you the truth. So I said, no, if I go to UI, this rumor would turn out to be real. People would tend to believe, okay, that was why he had to use another university. And I just dumped the admission. My parents thought I was going mental, because they couldn't understand what this person had been looking for. Now he's turning it down. And I couldn't explain to them, because it will not make any sense to anybody at that point. They would see me as a mental case. So I just wrote JAM again. Now I was already getting very old. What I'm telling you now, I was already above 30. So I got to 2019. Shame couldn't let me put in for JAM again in my state, like in my local government. I had to apply for JAM in Abia State. When I got there, see, this thing it's funny. Those invigilators were even thinking I was one of the external. So until when I sat down, I told them. So I applied for a course in adult and non-formal education, and I was offered the admission.
Okay, so you intentionally applied for that course. You didn't apply.
Yes.
Why didn't you apply for law again?
No. I looked at I was looking at time, number one.
Okay.
And I was looking at it as a kind of duplicity. I was looking at it as going for 5 years again to do law and then graduating. Even if I would graduate with a very good grade, that would be spending 10 years. Spending 10 years to do a course of 5 years. Now I will now go to law school again and the rest of the stuff. So I was now looking at the courses I could do. Education was already on my mind.
Okay.
Then I had 3: adult and non-formal education. I had special education. I had early childhood and guidance and counseling.
Yeah.
But when I weighed the options, I went for adult and non-formal education. Yes. And it's a very rich course that people do not really know what it entails, except you go there. Like people, they say, you will no go. I'm telling you the truth. When I got admission into the course, I knew that the only thing I could do, like my elder brother, Engineer Ibanga, that man, he told me something when I got admission, and I cried. Like I stood at 19th Street and cried like this that evening when I talked to him on phone. He told me, look, you are not a small boy again. The only thing that can save you now is to come out with a first class. That is the only thing that would make people listen to you, especially with your age. And now, I never dreamt of a first class. What I was looking for was never to have a carryover and spend any extra year in school again.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and I was looking at, in the class, I have never attended any classes yet, but I knew in that class I would be one of the oldest, if not the oldest. So it's going to be a very shameful thing, staying in class and then looking at people I would see as small boys and small girls. Then in exam hall, I would be stranded and be asking them for help. How would I now be able to relate? So I had no other alternative than to start studying. Where I was then, Mr. Godwin Akpan, he gave me accommodation at 19th Street. I put up with him. I was reading every day. I just had this policy that I would be reading 12 hours daily.
Whoa. Did you actually do that?
Yes. I just started it before 2 months. I was already accustomed to it. Now, I'm not talking about 12 straight hours. What I would do is, between the hours of, in the mornings, I would wake up, I would read from 6 to 9. Then I would sleep. Then I will wake up by 12. I would make sure I read from 12 to 6 in the morning. Then I will prepare for classes. Then I will start deducting. For example, now we go to class and we have 3 hours before the next course. I will use 2 hours to read. Then I will minus it, add it to the maybe 6 hours I've read. But before 24 hours, I must have read 12 hours. I must make sure. Now, I made it a policy to the point that it really helped me. Now, let me tell you what happened in my 100 level. It was so shocking that during exam times, I don't read again. In short, if I carry my book then to read, it will look like I'm deceiving myself. Honestly, I was actually deceiving myself because everything from first page to the last, I could virtually quote all of them, not even reading. So I was now reading other materials from my 100 level. And there is a way we are taught or trained, let me put it that way, in that adult and non-formal education because of the lecturers we have. We write our exams as if we are writing projects, especially those of us that we're in professional. We have adult education, professional, we have in ENL, we have geography, we have in political sciences.
Yeah.
Now, but for us in professional, the training was so rigorous that just an assignment that you are given, you'll be talking about typing. We started writing assignment as if we are writing projects with references, introduction, and everything. So it was very serious to the point that I started doing some research on my own. So if they give us assignments, I would do it more like a research, and already had knowledge in law.
Yeah.
So, and then throughout my stay in school, I never went to anywhere other than academics. Anything. I never had a social life per se. Yes, because I knew what brought me there. Sometimes I used to talk to some of my colleagues then, but I knew they would not understand because most of them, those were the first time they were in the higher institution. So that freedom was there.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Okay. So
go ahead.
Okay. So what happened is when I got in my 100 level, when my 100 level result came out, like I said, adult and non-formal education is a very rich course, cutting across all the courses in this world. Talking about social work, statistics, English and literature, talking about human resource management. So we were doing 20 courses every session, 20 courses every session till our final year. I think final year we did about 70. So it was almost the same. So it was so rich that you will need to sit down and understand these courses before you could make headway. So in my 100 level, when the result came out, I wasn't actually expecting it. I had out of 20 courses, I had 10 A's and some B's, although I had a D. So my CGPA was 4.31. I was like, so somebody can actually have 10 A's, because in law then, to even have five B's was luxury. So I was like, okay.
And if I could quickly chip this in, I think during your set in law, that's when we had Mavis, the girl that made the first class.
The very first class, Mavis.
Yes, from okay.
Mavis.
So
yes. She was the first person that ever had a first class.
From the faculty of law, from the
Yes. So then I was like, well, some of lecturers like Dr. Agedo, he was actually a scholar, you see, first class, but he made us that before then we only had one first class.
That was a match from the department.
Eva, that was Dr. Shewun Olawale.
Okay.
Now, then while we were trying to graduate, okay, now 200 level, another person had a first class, so we now had two.
Okay.
We now had two. So ever in the history of the department.
Yeah. Was that a source of inspiration for you? I said, I think maybe I can make it. Or you just felt
honestly, I wasn't looking for a first class, honestly, because I normally, when I sat down that time, there was one of my friends too. She's very intelligent too. We were just trying to sit down to calculate how possible. She had a 4.44 then. We were just trying to see how it will be possible to have a first class. In short, after calculating, I just shook my head. I just told this girl, look, first class, I don't think this is ever going to be possible. As a matter of fact, in the whole university, how many eventually come out with the first class? So let me just graduate and then not have an extra year. So the 200 level, I put in a lot of effort. I had 9 A's, 9 B's, and 1 C. So my CGPA was 4.44. I was very, very depressed because of that result, because I put in so much effort. I didn't know what happened. I didn't know actually what happened, how my result was like that. I almost got angry with everybody around me, because I just needed to test a 4.5 to see how it feels like. And honestly, so that time I was very discouraged. So I just said, well, this is bidding final farewell to anything first class. Let me just concentrate and then just graduate. And then rest. Yeah. But then after some months, I said no. Since the way they calculate the CGPA, the CGPA, 100 level is 10%, 200 is 20%, 300, 30%, 400, 40%. So as you advance, the higher it adds to your CGPA.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, let me pick up myself and see what happens. I gave my all. Let me put it that way. Like, I was exhausted. I exhausted myself, but it paid off. Because when the result came out of the 20 courses, as a matter of fact, I made history in the department. The history, I think no one has ever come close, apart from the girl that just finished the first class. That 300 level for a single session, I had, out of 20 courses, I had 17 A's and 2 and 3 B's.
Oh.
So the CGPA now shot my GP then for that level shot to 4.83.
Okay.
So
now you have gotten the feel of the first class.
Yes. so you see, that first class hope now came alive again, and I was, well, this thing can be possible. So I started calculating, what do I need to have a 4.5? So when I calculated my 100, 200, I needed a 4.34 in my final year to have a 4.51. So I was now looking at it, but the stories around 400 level has always been crazy. I don't know if I could use that word, but it was something else. The feeling, that time, no lecturer would tolerate foolishness, especially the lecturers that we had. Very strict and disciplined human beings.
So that
time, in your 100 level, 200 or probably 300, you would make a little, what we would call topographical error or anything. Your marks will be deducted for it. So they said they are training scholars, and that was the truth.
Yeah.
So when I heard of all those things, the project, the practicum, and the rest of the stuff, I was like, God, how would it be possible for somebody to have a 4.3 stuff? But then, God, so as God would have it, in the final year, I ended up having a 4.77.
Mm.
So my final year, I had just two B's, one C, and the rest were A's. The rest, all of them were A's. I had 4.77. Then my CGPA was finally 4.68. Very
Yeah.
high.
Yeah.
So
Congratulations once again. Quite
thank you so much.
interesting journey you have narrated for us. I want to ask you. Yeah, I'm drawing from your post, and you said your second coming, if I will call it that way, was not to prove anybody. It was not to prove anything to anybody, but to yourself. Did that make the journey less demanding for you?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I just wanted to know if
Yes.
that actually helped you to just concentrate on your academics and be yourself.
Mm.
Okay. And also, I want to know, you made, I think while you were responding to the previous the penultimate question, you said you made mention of you not having social life during your second coming. Me to use the second coming during the course of this interview. What, apart from having not having social life, what were the differences between the boy that came into the university in 2007 and the man that resurfaced in 2019?
Okay, now let me just contrast my 2007 and 2024, 2025.
Mm.
Now, let me tell you something. When I was in 100 level, just like most of my colleagues in adult education, we were in school for the first time. So I was involved in that time. Who don't know Ibanga, don't know anybody. I'm telling you the truth. In politics, I was highly involved. Sports, I was highly involved. There was nobody by then. I think what's his name? Prince Harrison. He
Harrison,
was
you hear
deputy
me?
president.
Oh,
I
yeah.
still talk with him. Yes, Prince Harrison. There was nothing I never did. I was everywhere, politics, sports, both in my department. I was a parliamentarian from 100 level till my final year. I was the chief of staff to my president, to faculty president. Then in my final year, that's senior special advisor to the president. Then that's Barrister Mayor Obonna. Now, I was involved in so many activities, but then when I came back, I just noticed that those ones, as a matter of fact, I had to cut out anything that would take 1 minute of my time. As a matter of fact, I even had to stop religious activities. Honestly, I had to, because I was looking at the time. I started a church. I attended a church, but I knew wherever I go to, I would always be given a responsibility to handle. And it's going to be responsible of me if I stay there. I said, no, I just want to come and go and all these things.
Yeah.
So I just had to withdraw. Most people did not understand, but I knew what I wanted because I had a target, 12 hours of reading every day. So just imagine I was going out for rehearsals that would take 22 minutes and maybe 1 hour. And when we're about closing, it starts raining. So all those kind of distractions, I didn't want any of them. As a matter of fact, I cut all those things. It was not in my agenda. Going to party, of course, that one was not in my mind. It's not a matter of fact. What I did to prevent people, or to at least check myself, was I got very close to my colleague. She's a reverend sister, and she was my closest friend. It was a deal. She did not even know. Now, the thing is, being close to a reverend sister, one, it was going to scare away any other females that may want to, come around and want any kind of relationship, because they would feel, this person, I don't know, like sister is always preaching to him, and they are close. So they would just look at it as, it would look as if they are trying to sin against God if they come to me and they try to look at those things. I knew what I did, and that thing kept me safe from all those unnecessary distractions. And I tried to make sure I lived a very low profile life. I wasn't extravagant. In short, the clothes I used right in my 100 level, I still use them till my final year. So I spent more time. In short, I could say that my 4 years in the university, I spent 95% of my time and 95% of my resources on my academic. As a matter of fact, when I got my results, when they posted the results on the group and I saw the first class, I saw my name, first class. I was so exhausted. Like, I felt nothing would ever make me open book and say, I want to read again. So it was a sharp contrast, because then I was naive, I was young, I was ignorant. But then coming here, there's something they taught us about adults. We have what we call intrinsic motivation. That is, we are motivated internally. We know why we are in school. But some of my colleagues then, they are young persons. So their parents are paying their school fees, sending them stuff. They know they have the luxury of time. Sometimes I called some of them. Then I told them, look, I am seeing myself in you. If you are not careful, you will make the mistake I made. Although I didn't tell them the full story, they didn't understand. But when we were in final year, their eyes became open. So most of them, I could count at least 4 of my colleagues that would have made a better first class than myself. But some of them ended up making a 2-2. Then some of them only managed to have a 2-1. It was in final year that their eyes were open and they tried to see how they can help themselves, but it was already too late, because they wasted their 100, 200, and 300 levels.
Yeah. Okay. Like I always ask my guests, what attributes did they take from Uniben? And I'm putting it to you too. What did Uniben teach you? You are someone that spent 5 years in law, spent 4 years in education. It's been cumulatively of about 9 years. What did you take from the institution?
Now,
say, I learned this from Uniben.
Now, University of Benin, like I always tell myself, if I have my way, I would want all my children to have a taste of University of Benin, because I always tell myself, if I'm an employer of labor and somebody from University of Benin comes with a 3rd class, another person from any other university comes with a 2-1 or even first class, I would want to listen to somebody from the University of Benin, because you see those sculpture, those images.
The entrance of the institute,
it is no be lie, no be joke. Uniben will so bend you to a point that is why, if you have a 2-1 in the University of Benin, you have been so grilled. This thing I hear about lecturers helping students, lecturers doing what? A lecturer can only support you. Let me say, I don't know the word I would have to use to make it appropriate. When they look at it and they say this person is trying, and sometimes they do a random, a mass, maybe if they are deducting or adding mass. Okay, let's look at the failure rate is, in short, it's always the failure rate going down. And now the thing is the thoroughness. It's exhausting. There is no department. We are talking about education, the mother of all faculties in the University of Benin. We're talking about engineering, even law, even a Greek, life sciences. If you want to look at all these faculties, nobody has ever had a smooth ride. Nobody will come out from University of Benin. He said, I just walked in there and I just made a first class, or just passed. Even you have a third class, you would definitely have a story to tell. It will look as if the lecturer has hate you. But you know what I was telling myself? I kept telling myself, look, if these lecturers are this bad, how come people are excelling? People are having A's in some of these courses. So it means that these people, they can give you A. So what do I do to have this A? And I did all I needed to do. That was just the truth. So the University of Benin, to me, I don't know, I've not really tested any other school, but from what I have been hearing, just go out now, tell them you are, in short, immediately you mention Uniben, every other person would have to look at you. Great Uniben, don't be big, so I'm telling you the truth. So Uniben has a way of molding. You see that thing they say in paper, in learning
and learning, yeah.
Uniben has a way that even if you have mental problem and you come to University of Benin, as long as you graduate from that school, I'm telling you, your mental illness would be reduced by 90%. But then that your mental ruggedity would be so heightened to the point that you could meet, if you can scale through University of Benin, there is nothing life throws at you mentally that you will not be able to chest, honestly, that you will not be able to absorb, because you have to pass through a lot of emotional stages before you graduate. 100 level, you will sit down, when you enter 100 level, everybody is just nonchalant. 200 level, 300 level, you will be depressed. I was reading one night class in a pharmacy. A student went crazy. Like your mental health will be messed up with. So if you are able to scale through, forget. And that is why you see products of University of Benin, both locally and internationally. Find out. You should even drop out from University of Benin. Find out. They are always, as a matter of fact, I will always say, a Uniben student or Uniben graduate is ahead of you naturally. Honestly.
I quite subscribe to that. It's just an advantage. We already have that advantage as far as we went to that institution. Lastly, what next for Joseph? What next for you?
Well, I have a lot on my table, and we are still looking for opportunities to explore. And personally, I love the academic field. I would have loved to lecture, not just lecture anywhere. That University of Benin.
Oh,
honestly,
that's so wonderful to hear.
It used to be automatic. If you have a first class, it used to be automatic. So, but I'm still wondering what changed.
Yes, obviously, I think while I was still at the institution as a staff, that was some years back, the president, there's an embargo on employment. That was from the previous president, President Muhammadu Buhari. There was an embargo on employment, which I do not think that this present government under President Tinubu has lifted that embargo. So, but you have made it clear, and it is encouraging to hear that people of such resources like your resources want to give back to the institution. Hopefully, we hope this will get to the authorities and they find a way to bring you into the system to help the younger ones. Your story is inspiring, your journey is motivating, and I want to thank you so much for creating time to be part of this interview. Thank you very much, Joseph.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I've been speaking with Joseph Ibanga, if I got that correctly. Is someone whose journey, whose stories Yeah, it started on a quite sorrowful note, having gotten 5 years training from the Faculty of Law of the University of Benin, but unfortunately doesn't have a certificate from the faculty. After a few years of wallowing in disheartening moods, he picked up himself, came back to the institution, now graduated with a first-class degree in adult and non-formal education. Continue to subscribe to our channel, more exclusive interviews, more inspiring and captivating interviews like this. Bye.
1970, we sure we did the forefront. Knowledge for selfish, for sure we did the work. Auditorium to basement of all faculty of law.